Even though Charleston was founded more than 350 years ago, it wasn't until the 20th century that it established a mission to preserve and protect its priceless history and architecture. We'd like to welcome back Rouaelyn de Haas, Director of Marketing for the Historic Charleston Foundation, which is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So good to be back, Layla. Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you. And you know, it's interesting that 75 years ago, they were looking ahead to preserving this city. So what do you think was behind that mission?
That's a great question. And, you know, for 75 years, Historic Charleston Foundation has been able to advocate and be a leading voice in preservation and sustainability. And as you say, it is fascinating that early in the 20th century, they were actually looking ahead and realizing that with the amount of change that was happening in Charleston, there had to be somebody who was advocating for Charleston and its responsible development.
Right, and if we can, since you did mention development, just in 2016, at least 300,000 square feet was added to Charleston. So just in the last 6 years, to see that skyline change so drastically. So what is the view by the organization?
Massive change, obviously, and obviously extremely rapid. And the further we go along, the faster it happens as well. Historic Charleston Foundation is an advocate for sensible and common sense development and progress. Preservation does not mean keeping things as it is. It doesn't mean staying stagnant. Preservation means looking after the things that are truly important to the cultural and historical fabric of a city, especially one as important as Charleston. But it's also about looking ahead and being able to plan for that responsible development. As you said, absolutely, it's incredibly rapid development, and we try to mitigate that by saying, where do we want to be in the next 75 years? Have a look at the past 75 and what does the next 75 years look like? And it's not just about development, it's about livability, sustainability, affordability, and equity as well, making sure that all Charlestonians have access to the same resources as everybody else. We are an evolving city. We are not just about old historic buildings. We are about lives and businesses and microcosms, you know, of society, and we have to encompass all of that. Now, again, we can't just leave things exactly as they are. People change, they sell their businesses, and repurposing, reuse is an important part of preservation as it is. We get to keep a building, keep structure, but allow a dynamic, livable, breathing city. Do
you find that any of the changes, or does the organization find that any of the changes go against that grain, that is disappointing?
Absolutely. And you know, while we are an advocate and we are a facilitator of different voices to be able to bring them together to have different opinions, sometimes things are, you know, outside of our control. We can obviously create influence where we are able, and we definitely try and be that voice of reason and the facilitator to be able to bring opposing sides of an argument together and try and find a reasonable outcome for it.
So what would you say would be a reasonable outcome as we look to the next 75 years?
Oh, great question. And we're in the process of really refining what that message is. I think that as in the past, preservation was purely about buildings. The next 75 years is really about people. So when we talk about outcomes, I think it's more people-centric, and again, livability, making sure that everybody has a voice in order to retain the cultural and, you know, historical fabric that makes Charleston so great.
Yes, and you've got a very long calendar of events that are taking place starting in the spring and all the way through this winter. In fact, the gala, which is going to be held in November as well.
So excited for the gala. So it will be several years since we have done a gala, but as you said, starting right off in the spring, we have our 75th Festival of Houses and Gardens. 75 years, it's amazing. This has been the largest and most comprehensive house and garden tour in the country, and we'll be looking at welcoming, you know, many people from all over the country as well as from Charleston for the festival. Our website has all the details, historiccharleston.org, 75 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rouaelyn. It's
Thanks
great to
for
have
having
you.
us.
We're back after this.